Welcome along to the Army List Analysis series, and today we are on a quite an interesting army, the Indian Hindu North 1050 with Indian Rajput 1050 allies. Some players are using this army in the league. It's quite different to everything else out there, so I thought I would have a look and we will see what we think. So straight away, you can see that you don't have any heavy infantry. Zero heavy infantry in this army. You've only got the Indian close fighters. Now, if you've been following my videos, I recently produced a top 10 of the worst units in medieval, looking at cost effectiveness, performance, how they fit in on the list, comparing to other armies, and so on and so forth. And this unit, the Indian close fighters, came in at number 1. They are, according to me, let's zoom in a little bit, officially the worst unit in the game. Although they look nice, and if we twist a little bit, look at these wonderful shields. Oh, great. So, what's wrong with them? Well, number 1, they're medium foot, so they're at a disadvantage against heavy foot in the open, -1 modifier. Then they have absolutely no advantages, so Dailami, even though they're medium foot, they are impact foot. So these guys are not impact foot, and they're the same price, 36. They're the same price as defensive spear, heavy foot defensive spear, same price. So they are just really overpriced in my view. They're essentially the same as irregular foot. It's just that they're protected and irregular foot are lightly protected. So they are not a good unit to take, but we are forced to take these units because we don't really have any other options. So you're going to have to play fairly carefully. Use your archers. Maybe you could take less of these guys, a few less, and take more archers. Just try and find a hill or rough ground, perhaps. Let's have a quick look at this map. It's really open, isn't it? It's going to be tough. Oh, maybe I'd move my army over here. Put my archers and medium foot around this area, perhaps. Yeah, it's just difficult to see how you're going to find any advantages facing a regular army with heavy foot in the open. Yes, you've got well, in this build I've taken 4 elephants. Elephants are pretty good. Usually I only take 1, but in this list, they're probably going to be, if you do win a game, they're going to be a big reason why you do. Tremendous POA advantage. It works out against your average defensive spear. They're up 150 POA. Defensive spear get their 100, and the elephants are on 250 on impact, so it's a net advantage of 150. So in my tests and what I've seen on the battlefield, roughly speaking, if you go in with 4 elephants on your standard spearmen, they will likely disrupt 1 if not 2 units. It seems to me to be about a 1 in 4, 1 in 3 chance of disrupting, around there. So you've got a fairly decent chance of disrupting at least 1 unit. But when I was looking at the combat log and looking at my tests, the problem is, even if you do disrupt an enemy spearman, elephants can still get stuck because they've got the combat strength modifier. against them. So, against infantry, it's about -19, your standard infantry unit, around 230, 250 men. Elephants are down 19% on the combat strength modifier. So even if they do disrupt a unit, it can just be slightly advantaged in the melee. And if they don't disrupt, then they're at a disadvantage and they can quite easily become disrupted themselves. So it's very, very hit and miss with elephants. Very, very hit and miss. You might well have to use your archers, maybe, up to 17 there. Well, actually, with the 4, it's up to 21. Perhaps you could take out some light horse and add more archers. That might be one possibility to get your max out of this army. You have got some fairly decent cavalry. Indian lancers are pretty good. They are actually great value for money at 34. They're average protected, so they get their plus 100 POA for being lancers, and they're so cheap. So they are really, really good value for money. Some of the best cav in the game, really, in terms of bang for your buck. And I've taken 4. So maybe one way to play with this army is to try to keep your infantry back a bit, try and flank, because not many armies, if any, are going to have so many lancers. Yes, they'll have horse archers. Yes, they'll have some lancers, usually the better kind. But the light lancers, most lists only get access to a couple of them. And you've got also these superior Indian lancers. Now, in themselves, I think they're overpriced, these superior Indian lancers, because they're 50 and some armor. Yes, superior quality. But in tests that I've done against, for example, sergeants, who only cost 36, armored lancers on the European armies, they're only up 38. And any advantage that's below 50 on the POA scale is not a lot, really. It works out kind of slightly advantaged. So they're a bit overpriced at 50, but still worth taking as backing up your light or medium lancers. You've also got a fair bit. I'd like more. I think that's one problem with this list. Units like this, light horse archers, would be great if you could have 6 or 8 or whatever. You've only got max of 2, and then you've got your javelin horse essentially. So not the absolute best of the best cavalry, but it's fairly decent. And in this build, I've got 7 lancers, so that's quite good. The skirmishers, I've got 5 of the cheaper end skirmishers. That's nice, and I add some extra points. So I've got some of the forest tribesmen, the bowmen, essentially light archers. I guess one advantage with the Indian close fighters is that they can attack. A lot of armies, a lot of defensive spear. So at least you can go in if you attack your defensive spear, you're around evens. So it's only once the melee kicks in that you're at a disadvantage. So you can lock down some defensive spear. If you force them to attack you, then they'll lose their spearman advantage for impact. So that can be really useful. So that's one thing. Maybe keep some archers nearby, fire on the enemy, try to disrupt with missile fire or force them onto you. I have to say, overall, this isn't a particularly easy army to use or to expect wins from. The win rate when I checked in the league, 19 wins, 4 draws and 31 losses, which works out at about a 35% win rate, which is pretty low. Around just below average, evens, and just about a slight advantage in wins. It seems to be about the norm for standard armies, but once you get to 35% win rate, that's pretty low, and it just shows that a lot of players really struggle with this army. Really, if it was going to be competitive, these close fighters need to be better. They need to be cheaper or better. Give them some armor, give them impact, whatever it is, and yeah, I mean that's really the only way that they're going to be more competitive, because 36 is just it's a lot. It's a lot, and you don't have swarms of cav. Yes, these are lancers, but against armies with 15 to 19 cavalry units, a lot of these Middle Eastern armies, they seem to be able to field a lot of cavalry. If you check the videos I've already done, a lot of those armies have lots and lots of cav, so it's going to be hard to fight with the cav you have, and it's going to be hard to fight with the infantry you have. So rating, it's going to be one of the lowest ratings that I've given out yet, maybe about a C. Elephants, really, you're putting all your hope into the elephants. Get them in a good position, open ground, ideally swordsmen to hit, but regular spear as well can disrupt quite easily on impact. So you're just going to have to hope that. It seems to me that the only way you're going to win is if the elephants do well. Perhaps, let's have a quick look. If I took out another one of those close fighters, I can't do anything with the archers, that's preset. Okay, so I took out a close fighter, javelin man, and I've added another elephant. Maybe, I'm always the one to say only take one elephant, and I'm taking 5. But I think with this particular list, I would probably go for something like that. Maybe 4 or 5 elephants, because close fighters aren't going to do much. So, yeah, about a C. And let's see how this army does in the league, if it improves on the record it has so far. There was an option to take one other, I think it might have been Hindu South allies, but there wasn't much difference. I think you got more lancers with this list, so that was one of the reasons I decided to go with this list, because these lancers are quite nice. Okay, thank you very much for watching. If you play against this army, let us know. If you've got any great stories about these elephants or your experiences with them, put your comments below. Maybe they're going to, blow us all away and do really well. I mean, maybe a C is far too low for this army, but you let me know. Okay, see you again soon.